Okay, here we've got 4 different fractions, and the question is, expand these fractions so that they're now in hundredths instead. And then once you've turned them into hundredths, turn the fraction into a decimal. And that's one of the advantages of turning them into hundredths or tenths or thousands. If you get all of these numbers with a 1 and lots of zeros on the end, it's really easy to convert it to decimals later. So if I'd like to change 20 into 100, I could do that quite easy by multiplying by 5. So it's the denominator we need to turn into the number 100. If I multiply the bottom one by 5, I have to multiply the top one by 5, because I'm doing the same thing to the top of my fraction as the bottom. 1 times 5 is 5, 20 times 5 is 100. So I now have that 1/20th is equivalent to the fraction 5/100ths. Now it's really easy for me to change my 5 into a decimal. I have my point here at the moment, a 5, but I've got to divide this number by 100, which means I'm going to move the decimal point 2 places back, which means 1, 2. My decimal point will now be here, and wherever I have a little gap, I put in a 0. So my solution to 5 divided by 100 would be 0.05. If I divided 5 by 10, I've only got 1 0 down here, so I would move my decimal point 1 place back, so I'd get 0.5. If I divided 5 by 1,000, I have 3 zeros here, so I'd move my decimal point 3 places back. From 5, 1, 2, 3, it would be 0.005. So that's the beauty of getting these numbers with a 1 and then lots of zeros. It's really easy to work out the decimal number. Okay, same thing here then, 20 again, so we multiply top and bottom by 5. 20 times 5 is 100 on the bottom. 13 times 5, well 13 times 10 would be 130, so half of 130 would be 65. So 13 times 5 will be 65. 2 decimal point places, the decimal point goes back, so from 65, I'm moving it back 2 places, 1 for each 0, 1, 2, giving me 0.65. That's my answer. Okay? Next one, I have 25 on the bottom here, so how would I get that into 100? Well, I'd multiply it by 4. 4 5s are 100. If I multiply the bottom one by 4, I multiply the top one by 4. So on the bottom, I'd get 25 times 4 is 100. On the top one, I'd get 4 times 4, which is 16. 16 divided by 100, move the decimal point 2 places back. It's the same as the decimal 0.16. 3 times 50, well, if I multiply 50 by 2, I'd get 100 on the bottom. On my denominator, this is the one I need to turn into hundredths. Then, 3 times 2 would give me 6. I'd move my decimal points 2 places back from the 6. 1, 2. My point would now be here, and I fill in with 0.06. Okay, so that's how we would do that question.